Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to take you through my December pages for my country diary. This is the final month of my 2024 country diary project, so I'm really excited to show them to you and tell you a little bit more about some of the tips and tricks I use to paint these pages in watercolor.
So here are my December pages in my country diary. You can see that I've put the spiral binding back in, so it's now a complete little nature journal again. So I'm looking forward to doing another video that I'll be posting shortly after this one that gives you an entire flip through of all of my work in the country diary that I created in 2024, and I'm super excited about that, and I'd love to share it with you. So if you are interested in that, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and you can also sign up for updates on my website if you'd like to get an email when I post my new videos. So here's December, and I'm really happy with how this title page turned out. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a botanical grouping again, and I wanted it to look cohesive. But this actually turned out quite nicely, and the lettering, I made it a little bigger, and I like how that turned out. This is actually 90-pound Daler-Rowney paper by the Simply brand. Unfortunately, I think it's discontinued, but it is super reasonably priced. I bought this at Walmart years ago, and recently I figured out that the paper actually performs really well for how I paint. And now, unfortunately, I cannot find more to buy. It really sort of helps exaggerate light and dark tones. So it's easy to paint on this paper and not have sort of like mud and a blob. So I do have a bunch of it stashed away. I bought it originally just to like practice and experiment, you know, throw away stuff, and then I realized I love it. So anyway, this is the Daler-Rowney Simply paper. This is the Privet Berry Pacific Crabapple. This is a new discovery. I didn't know. I thought it was like a little choke cherry or something, but it's actually a native type of crabapple we have here in the Pacific Northwest, and they turn these lovely colors in the fall winter, and this was actually a very interesting color to mix up. I honestly forget exactly the colors I used, but when I did paint this, I remember thinking, oh, this is a bit of a challenge, something different that I mixed up. I'm really happy with how the holly turned out. Holly is quite challenging to paint, and I did use the same technique I use in my holly class. It's in the watercolor garden. So basically, to make leaves look like they're glossy and shiny, you need reserved whites of the paper. So you need really good highlight. So I actually start out with a hard edged highlight, and then as I layer up the paint, I blend around the edges, and then I lift a bit out, and that's how you get this look. And I do go over that in my holly class, but this paper really worked well for that technique. So that is the December title page. And then I'm just going to move my book over here a bit. So I have my December journal entries, and then I also wrote, because I have the back of the last November page, I have December 1st, 9th, and 10th entries, and then carries on. And then I had a little bit more, I got a little mixed up with my nature notes, so then I have the 14th and the 26th. That's what happens. One of the downfalls when your book is not put together and you're making notes on the pages. But anyway, I fixed that up by just adding in a little bit of information on each of the plants on this page. So I have my holly, or Ilex aquifolium, privet, which is Ligustrum vulgare, and the Pacific crabapple, which is Malus fusca. And then I just wrote a quick little blurb about each of them. And that brings us to our next page, which is the candy cap mushroom. So this is a little mushroom I painted. It's a mushroom that can be found sort of in the winter and right now here where I live, and it is also a full-length lesson in the watercolor garden as part of the How to Create a Country Diary class. I've made a class about how to create a diary or a nature journal like this, and I am continually adding new lessons to that class each month. that I launched in the fall, and I'm continuing to do that this year. So there's lots of lessons and lots of exciting things planned. So this is the most recent one that I did, and it's the painting instruction. And then I also wrote a little bit about the mushroom and the species here, as well as the common name and the Latin name, and then just added in a little bit of the understory to tie things together. So this mushroom's not just floating in space, which I think works well. Nothing too crazy or detailed, but it just sort of anchors things, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I also had a lot of fun sort of rendering and shaping the details of the cap, because you think, oh, it's just a mushroom, it's a simple shape, but there's actually a lot of sort of 3-dimension and texture on a lot of mushrooms. So again, if you're interested in learning more about all my classes, there's links in the video description below where you can check out a free class or get a guide, or just join the watercolor garden. If you know that you want to learn how to do this yourself already, then join us in the garden. This is continuing on. So these are the December notes that I kind of got mixed up with. And this is the last page in my country diary. And again, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm quite happy with December. October and November weren't my favorite months. I think that's because it was so busy with my son starting daycare, me going back to work at my day job, and also dealing with some illness. So it turns out that can affect your painting. So I've been mostly recovered and enjoying December, even though now it's the new year. So this is a Chamelia page. So straying away from our native plants. Camellias come out pretty early, and sometimes they're just oddly blooming in the middle of winter here on Vancouver Island. Same with, there's a plant right now next door, a Lavaterra plant, and it's in bloom, which is kind of funny. It's been quite a warm winter, not a lot of frosts here actually. So these are actually not plants that I have found. There's some pictures that I saved for reference. So not technically blooming right now, but I wanted to paint a shiny camellia leaf because I needed to send an example in to John Muir Laws, who is a fellow nature journaler, and he is amazingly connected and just vibrant with the community and all the things he's built with nature journaling. And we are teaming up in February to do a class together on his Zoom meetings, which is free. So again, if you can head to my website if you want to connect and get more information. But this is the sort of project example. And so I painted that and sort of tied it into my country diary. And this is really fun, the way I paint these centers. They're like complex centers, but you can paint them with not a lot of detail and some negative painting. So this didn't take me long at all to paint. It took a lot more time on the leaf. And then again, painting a white flower on a white background can be challenging. So you want to paint the shadows in and leave the whites of the paper for the actual white of the flower. And then I really like just doing a subtle sort of little faded out background on the white flowers. It really makes them pop. And I use Neutral Tint by Holbein, which is just one of my favorite colors. I just love it. And some neutral tints in other lines like Winsor & Newton are opaque, but the Holbein neutral tint is transparent. So I highly recommend that if you want to add a color to your palette. And then this is another little camellia flower, a little bit more detail on the center, but again, I used negative painting, no masking fluid. This is going to be my upcoming lesson in the watercolor garden for January. So I filmed this and I'll just add voiceover to the step-by-step lesson, which is coming out in the next few weeks. The picture actually has some snow on, it's like a half covered flower with some snow, and I just chose to use some artistic license and create the whole flower. And then I've again put camellia. I don't know the exact specific varieties of this camellia, so I put SP, which means species when you don't know, so genus and species. If you don't know the whole thing, you can put SP. And then I have some more information just generally about camellias. And then just sort of like a final closing nature note and thought for the end of my 2024 country diary, which has been so crazy. I didn't know that I could do this project because I'd never done anything like it before, and I was on maternity leave as a brand new mama with a baby that was born 2 months premature. He's healthy, but it was an epic journey, let's just say. And so stay tuned for the flip through. I've added some new pages that people have not seen before, and I've also added some maps, which is kind of fun to add some context to things. So anyway, I won't give too much more away before I do the tour. And I am so thankful for everyone that supported me and commented and given me great feedback on this project. It's been really, really motivating to keep going and continue to share it with you.
Thank you so much for watching this video and following along with my Country Diary project for all of 2024. And I just wanted to thank you so much for everyone for leaving comments and encouragement for being here. It's been a wonderful and life-changing project to me. And doing this project has improved my skills as an artist and watercolor painter so much. So I really encourage you to try something like this on your own. And even if you don't feel like your skills are good enough yet, it doesn't matter. The biggest thing is just getting your paintbrush out and starting to paint. And even if you created a country diary with paintings that weren't all your favorite paintings, with the skill level you wanted, if you just consistently create it, you will improve. And that is the most important sort of lesson and tip that I can share with you out of this 12-month long project. So if you'd like some free resources on how to improve your watercolor botanical painting, then you can check out the links in the video description below. I have some classes and guides that you can access for free. And I'll see you in my next video.